Thank you for watching Daily Stank, where we expose stinky politics and the bullshit of the left. This episode is brought to you by the awesome Fuck Around and Find Out Gadsden design, available on shirts, hoodies, stickers, and coffee mugs, available at dailystank.com. Now with that out of the way, let's dive headfirst in today's bullshit. Californians are getting a second dose of the red pill and petitioning to recall District Attorney Chesqa Boudin. You gotta love watching Democrats get exactly what they wanted and crying when it goes horribly wrong, like any sane individual would imagine. Remember not all that long ago when Californians voted to essentially legalize shoplifting by a wide margin of 60 to 40? Proposition 47, which passed in 2014, no longer made it a felony to steal if the value of what you stole does not exceed $950. It's also no longer a felony to receive stolen property valued at less than $950, and so instead of being punished as a felon, you're hit with a misdemeanor, and in many cases, not even that. Naturally, this has turned into a dream for shoplifters and a nightmare for retailers. According to a headline in the far-left San Francisco Chronicle, out of control, organized crime drives San Francisco shoplifting, closing 17 Walgreens in 5 years. Check out this video of a guy. I don't know if he's a guy or not, honestly. I don't want to misgender anybody here, but check out this person stuffing a trash bag with stolen goods and escaping on a bicycle.
Wow.
This guy stealing an armful of prescription medications as casually as you might buy a gallon of milk.
Shit, he's just stealing medication.
May I go to pharmacy, please? May I go to pharmacy?
Oh my god, look at him just stealing that shit.
Move. I'm not moving it, bro. Dial 911, please.
Call the police, says the manager. What are they going to do? Nothing. The DA won't prosecute over this. Now, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe a relative desperately needed these medications and couldn't afford them, but it's far more likely those were opioids or benzos about to get flipped on the street for a profit. And it may not seem like as big of a deal as closing several Walgreens stores, but a San Francisco Safeway has cut its hours from 24 hours a day to closing at 9 p.m., and you'll never guess why. Rampant shoplifting. I just can't see the upside here. Like, okay, maybe you could make the argument that desperate people in less than ideal circumstances who maybe can't afford basic goods or medications might have been the target demographic, but this is not what we're seeing. We're witnessing organized crime right before our eyes. We're seeing groups of people stealing just enough to not get pinned with a felony. One person could take $900 worth of products, and so could your buddy. Multiply that by 3, 4, 5, or even 10 or more, and it's not hard to understand why these stores are shutting down, making it near impossible for law-abiding citizens to get the products, food, medicine, prescriptions that they need. Imagine your grandmother who religiously fills her prescriptions at Walgreens, and then one day, due to criminals and idiotic Democrat policies, that Walgreens no longer exists. So maybe she has to take the bus to the next town over. Maybe she's fortunate enough to be in good enough health and cognitive ability to still be able to drive by herself. But look at California's gas prices and ask yourself, why should my or anyone's grandmother have to pay exponentially higher fuel costs to go to another city to fill their prescriptions because left-wing brats looted her local stores out of existence? It's sickening. It's sickening, but not at all surprising when you look at who runs California. Take a look at San Francisco's radical left District Attorney Chesqa Boudin. An effort to recall radical San Francisco District Attorney Chesqa Boudin turned in 83,000 signatures to city election authorities on Friday, about 32,000 more than needed for a vote as early as June, the San Francisco Chronicle reported. As we saw in the recent recall attempt of Gavin Newsom against challenger Larry Elder, California is still deep blue and reluctant to change, but let's look on the bright side. Newsom's near recall and the initiation of his second one against Boudin signifies that a large portion of the population that hasn't yet bailed on California has had enough of radical left-wing Democrats. Some of Boudin's accomplishments, and I'm doing finger quotes by the way, include being the first prosecutor in the nation to eliminate cash bail, saying that it discriminates against the poor, and he also dramatically limited sentencing enhancements for alleged gang members and restricted the use of the 3 strikes law for repeat offenders. A San Francisco Superior Court judge also roasted Boudin's DA office at an open court hearing, calling it disorganized with a high staff turnover. Now this is where it gets really interesting and a pattern emerges. Boudin's father, David Gilbert, was granted clemency by disgraced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in his last few hours in office. Of course, it still needs to be approved by the state before he can be released. Let's hope they have the better sense to deny his release, and here's why. Gilbert was a member of the radical left-wing domestic terror organization known as the Weather Underground. The Weather Underground was involved in numerous bombings and acts of violence throughout the 70s and 80s. The last of which involved Gilbert and his accomplices, including Chesqa's mother, Kathy Boudin, robbing a Brinks truck and killing 1 guard and 2 officers in the process, including Waverly Brown, the first black officer on the Nyack, New York police force. They shot Sergeant Ed O'Grady in the back. One of the guards, Peter Page, was shot multiple times in the chest with an M16 rifle and killed instantly. The other guard, Joseph Trombino, nearly had his arm severed by gunfire. Trombino survived the robbery and was nearly killed in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and ultimately died while making a delivery to the North Tower during the September 11th attack on the World Trade Center. That guy must have been some kind of badass. So my question is this: how on earth did a man with a pedigree in left-wing domestic terror ever become a district attorney? His policies obviously echo the radical left sentiment of his parents. The only difference is that his parents left a trail of blood and destruction by their own hand, while Chesqa Boudin empowered the criminals of California to do it for him. Looking back in hindsight, it was obvious electing this man would lead to the chaos we're seeing in California. It's good to see Californians opening their eyes and trying to do something about it. But with the mass exodus of people fleeing deep blue states for the red, it may be too little too late. Let's hope they leave this bullshit behind them, because it ain't gonna fly around here. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. There's a strong possibility this channel will be pulled from YouTube or shadow banned. And in the event that that happens, you can catch my videos, articles, and some really neat t-shirts that I've made at dailystank.com. where the Zuckerbergs, the Dorseys, and the Wojcicki's of the world cannot touch me. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one.